I thought a new scape, a new small scape for the new year would be super fun. Hope you enjoy. Welcome to the small scape. Yes, I thought that I would do a new scape for this Zen Aqua that we have in our living room. I will attach the down below the original video when I scaped this. I did like it. I just wanted something a little different, and I want to be able to see something pretty part of the scape from back here, because this is the couch and this is where you usually view it, unless you are eating directly behind you right there. So I just thought it would be fun, and I think I'm going to do this more of like a real-time sort of my thinking. So if you're a professional aquascaper, you may just want to check me out in the next video. Maybe. This is just how I approach a scape, and to keep it simple and kind of stress-free, and just some of the things that I think about. So without further ado, let's start. All right, first of all, I have my container all cleaned out. I do have some substrate, but I have more because I think I probably will slope it a little bit. So instead of having the bag, I have another small container, which I've been kind of messing around with. This is a little terrarium. How cute is this? It's got space for just a vented lid. Really cute. I got this a long time ago, and it's just been sitting here as I mess around with possible scapes with some substrate. So this is just some sand, some black sand that I'll be putting in here because this is mostly gravel for some reason that I have in there. I also have plants in here staying nice and wet, and I've got a lot of anubias because this is a smaller light, and to be honest, sometimes I remember to turn it on. It's not on a timer. Sometimes I don't. So Anubias does really great. I've got some little baby Anubias gracilis, which will get taller. And then I have some Nana Petite. I think that's about it. And then I've got my my filter, my very small little sponge filter that will kind of go towards the back, maybe towards the side if I can help it, because nobody really sits here. And then what I have is in here, I've got my possibilities. Now, I originally wanted to use this one. Look at this piece of driftwood. Isn't that the coolest? But I have it almost looks like a wave. And depending on how you position it, it could be going horizontally, looking really cool. Also vertically, I can't really decide. I've got some options that I'm thinking about, and there's a specific plant that I really want to use with it. So I think I'm going to resist. I'm not going to use that right now. What I will use, and I've already kind of, this is the first thing that I do. I would like to use this piece. This is really cool. It's weighted. It's attached to this piece of slate. Really cool. And I've made sure that it can fit. That's step number one. Whichever one you want to use, make sure it'll fit. Okay, and it also has some room for some other pieces that I would like to use. I think I'm going to be using at least one shrimp tree. I brought you a video of these really cool things. I'm still working on a number of ways that that I can show you, that we can all make more shrimp trees to our heart's content. I may use one. I may use two. I'm not really quite sure. Okay, and then I've got some very small pieces of lava rock. Okay, this one's really cool for a specific reason, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. Now, what I do, all right, so first of all, I've kind of laid them out, put in a few pieces, make sure they can all fit. There's still room around the outside. That'll all be good, room for plants. Then what I do, sometimes, what I'll do is put these kind of maybe by the tank that I'm gonna scape, or even just anywhere around the house. The dining room table, the coffee table, kitchen table, downstairs, upstairs, and then I just leave it. I leave it for a day, 2 days, a week, and I just see, do I like it? And I'll look at it from multiple angles. Now this one, I happened to leave, it was sitting right here, and I just had taken them out of the tank, and I just put them down. sometimes that's when you can find your best scape, is by accident. And it was just kind of sitting there, and I really liked it from that angle, from the couch. So I said, all right, I'll consider doing that. So with that being said, I think we can probably start. Always have a towel, especially since I am in the living room on an actual piece of furniture, not a tank rack downstairs. So let's see how this works. Now first, I'm gonna start, and I'm not adding my extra substrate quite yet because, yep, that's right, this is mounted on slate, so I'm gonna make sure that this is buried. So I'm gonna put this on top, kind of put it down a little bit. All right, I think this is better. I was getting a glare from a window that actually isn't even open, so figure that one out. All right, hopefully you can see this pretty well. All right, so I've got the first guy positioned, and he's the one that I really want to use. Now, this little shrimp tree is the second one that I really want to use. So I'm going to put him in, and the weird thing about this is that this is going the opposite direction that I would have thought. But that's the fun thing about just trying things out. If you don't like how it looks, pull it all out. Just make sure that you keep your plants in water, and then you won't be as stressed out because, I mean, you're not going to hurt anything here with rocks and driftwood being out of the water. Now this, of course, you can see is out of the black substrate, and you can see it. But I'm not that concerned about it yet because I want to position everything else, see if I like it, and then I can probably pull this out and push him down into the substrate a little bit better. But I'm curious as to how this is going to fit in here. My sponge filter. Okay. All right, so the sponge filter can still fit back here, so that's good. This is from the tank that was already set up, so it's got the beneficial bacteria in there. I don't want it all to die or dry out, so I'll probably take it back out again, put it back in the water. But I know that he will fit back there, okay. Now I'm curious how many of these lava rocks will fit and not look too cramped. This one, I told you there was a reason that I wanted to use this guy, is when at all possible, I like to use different pieces that have the same kind of shape or kind of flow. It just mimics it. I don't know, for some reason, I just really think that's kind of a cool feature. So this one is kind of going like that. It's got that kind of a motion, and this one has a very similar, see? Almost looks like a duck there or something, but anyways, it has a very similar kind of shape, which I thought would be kind of cool, like right here. The other thing is I don't want to cover up this hole, and probably not even these little holes, because that will be kind of fun for my little, probably shrimp, to be walking through here. And that'll be really fun to watch if they do start exploring their little place. So that's kind of cool there. I usually will grab things in threes, especially rocks, small, medium, and large. The light's not really very good. I don't want to make it too bright because then we're going to get a lot of reflection. Okay, so this one would be my largest one, and then this is just a little small one. I'm not sure if I'm even going to use it. All right, so that looks kind of cool so far. Now this guy, I don't think I'm going to have space for this. Now I could of course break it. That's the good thing about lava rock, is you look at it the wrong way and you can break it. It's very easily broken into pieces, just like dragonstone. Dragonstone, you can do that too, of course with a hammer. But this, that doesn't make any sense there. The other thing I like to do is, if I have driftwood and I have rock, I think it's really fun to almost make it look like the driftwood is coming out or growing around the rocks. So if there is maybe a parts of a rock and parts driftwood that look like they meet. They fit together very nicely. That also is kind of a cool look, because then it just makes it look like it makes a little bit more sense. So if, it might not be bad. Maybe if this guy goes here somewhere, just on the side of the driftwood there, that might look kind of cool. The other thing I want to do is leave this hole open, because I'd like to have it be kind of a little thoroughfare if at all possible. So this guy will definitely have to be buried a little bit, but I kind of like this coming out from the back. That looks cool. And let's see how it looks from the back, from the couch side. That looks kind of cool. What I had before was what I call a wall. It was just a very large piece of driftwood, and it totally blocked the entire scape. All I could see from the couch was the sponge filter, and that's pretty boring. Yeah, that's kind of cool. All right. So I think this is like where I would stop. I would make sure that everything is where I want it. So I'm gonna make a little hole down here. Now when I have everything pretty well positioned, I will add my final amount of substrate. Especially since I'm not planting anything into the substrate, I'm only using Anubias, which I'll be attaching or maybe even wedging, not sure yet. So let's add some black sand without making a mess. Now at this point I'm not real concerned with the sand that's on top of any rock, because the water's going to shift it around anyways, as will the water will bring up a lot of this. This will start floating on the top, and air bubbles will keep it on top until it falls back down. So that'll work itself out. Okay, now I move the vase, bowl, whatever you want to call this thing, cylinder. I turned it a little bit because remember, I want to be able to see it from like sitting here. I want to see it from here. I do not need to see it from here because this is the wall. Nobody ever really sits right here. So I figure if this is somewhere around the same area as the sponge filter, which I don't need to see, that'll be great. I'm thinking kind of like this. Yeah, I think so. What I'm going to do first is, before I put in my sponge filter, which like I said, I wanted to keep the bacteria on it without drying out, I'm going to place, at least start placing my plants, the ones that I know that I want to do. And since this is such a small container, and a lot of people, Zen Aqua does beautiful, beautiful scapes, very lushly planted. I'm gonna go for something a little bit more minimal, because this is a gracilis. It will get larger. Okay, Anubias gracilis. It will get much taller. It does grow slow. Look at that, slow. I've even got some free Subwassertang on there. Anyways, it will, and this is a very, very nice plant. Wow, look at that. Look at how many plants are on there. Oh my goodness. I could separate this if I wanted to, but I'm going to just basically leave it as a big clump right there. It'll have plenty of room to grow up here. At some point I may take it out, we'll see, or even divide it and just keep some of it in here. It'll just be fun to watch it grow as like a little baby, because when I originally set this scape up, I used a very mature gracilis, just with 3 leaves, I believe, and that looked really cool too, but we'll be able to appreciate this one. Now I think I'm gonna want it right about there. I don't care that you can see all the roots. I think that's actually kind of cool. The roots will grow into the substrate. They'll grow around whatever it's in. As long as the rhizome's above the substrate, you're all good. So I think I like it right there. That looks really cool coming out back there. And so I will give a little bit of super glue. This is my favorite. I did a video on that. I'll link that for you. I learned this from Aquascaping when I had the pleasure of working with an aquascaper. Well, a couple of them. Jen Williams was at the Oase booth, as was Jeff Miatke. He gave me some tips, and he even left a comment on my video saying, when I did this, he said, I don't even know the half of it, all the tricks you can use with this and the accelerator. So I'm curious the next time I get to talk to him maybe he can show me some of his ways. Obi-Wan. All I'm going to do is where I want, I'm going to lay it where I want it, where it's naturally wanting to lay, and where the leaves look like they make sense, like they're not going the complete wrong direction that I want them to. And if you can have any kind of a mechanical hold whatsoever, you're going to be better off. So that means it's resting wherever it's actually resting on, so I don't have to hold it as long. It's going to have a better chance that it won't come off, and you're just going to have an easier time attaching it. Just put just a couple little drops where it's touching the driftwood already. Give a little spritz, and I could spray it first. Of course, I probably should have done that. There we go. Another tip, whenever you're using super glue, don't put your face right over that, because the fumes are going to come right back at you. It's really gross. Alright, and then I will, oh, see? Yeah, it's, okay, it's already attached. Okay, so I'll let that continue to cure. Now I have a number of Anubias Nana. I've got like just a variety of smaller Anubias Nana, and I've also got some Nana Petites here too, some little cuties. And I think I'm just going to do, like I said before, I'm just going to do Anubias in here. This one's kind of fun. I like this one. I don't know why. Even the rhizome's pretty cool. Just start playing around where I like it. I was thinking if, ooh, that's kind of cool. Oh, that's not bad at all. Now, if I were to put it here, the rhizome is touching this rock right here, so I could attach it right there. And what's also kind of cool is it almost looks like when these start growing, it almost looks like it's kind of continuous. Like that, like from that angle, that looks kind of cool. I'm not one for placing one plant here, one plant here, one plant in the back. I kind of wanted to have some sort of like a flow, some of them grouped together, if that makes any sense. I don't know if it does. Well, I definitely like that one there. Sometimes if I don't like any of them, I don't move on. I don't attach them, and then I'll just wait till I find at least one that I like, and then attach it. I mean, you may have to mess around for quite some time if you don't like that there. You may try different places, try different plants, maybe, because they all lay differently. Like this one right here, this one's going all sorts of different directions. This one may work out well in a different sort of area. Now, all right, so I've got those two. I was kind of wanting to use a smaller one, some Nana Petite, if possible. This one's kind of cute. I don't know if you can see that or not. Here we go. This one's really cute. As are these. Look at this one. That one's really cool. That one would crawl up somewhere, wherever I positioned it. The other thing is you can look for little areas that you can wedge them in. Like this one right here, this little spot, that's kind of cool. I could quite possibly put something in there. I could have something going along the under here, but I don't know how much light it would really get. It may get, I mean, very little light under there. This is kind of interesting right here. Like say, that's kind of cool. Then you'd have small, medium, large, all going together. That's kind of cool. All right, I like that one there. Well, this is working out way too well. And then straight on that, I don't know if I mind that either, because you can still appreciate this really cool piece of driftwood. This one's got so many little cool holes and little tunnels or whatever you want to call them, and it's just such an interesting piece that I don't mind leaving a whole lot of this space empty. And the other thing is when I have a scape one way and it's really filled up, like the last pieces I used a very oversized piece of driftwood, like that I called that wall, and I also used a very large rock. So when I re-scape something, I tend to do the complete opposite, because I've already had one style and then I go to the complete polar opposite, and just for variation and difference and stuff. I don't actually mind that. That's kind of cool. I may stop right here and fill it up with water, put in my sponge filter. I use my little guys. And I don't want to just place plants just to place plants either. And this one, you know what, I bet you I don't even have to attach it. I don't think I'm even going to attach it because it's already kind of stuck back there. Yeah, it's kind of stuck back there. I think it's just going to do what it wants to. And I don't see it coming back out. And then maybe if for some reason I'm like, I don't want it there anymore, I can just pull it out. I did add one more Anubias nana right here. He's just kind of hanging out there to see if I like it. But from a number of angles, I think it looks better that way, because when the water came in, it separated these guys a little bit. So you can tell this guy's roots is kind of coming over here, which looks kind of cool. So he's just hanging out there to see if I like it. But I think that kind of fills in that space a little bit better. Sometimes a scape will look really cool until you add the water, and either things will get dislodged or you may not like it as much. Especially in these kind of cylinders, it warps it a little bit, the view, and some things can look either look better or worse than what you thought. So then just make some adjustments. If you have to change things or pull things out, it's not the end of the world. Or just deal with them. Well, here it is, all complete, and the shrimp are all moved in. I've got about 6 red cherry shrimp, and I think they show up very nicely against this black sand substrate and the lava rock as well. This large piece of driftwood makes kind of a nice backdrop and also adds a whole lot of interest. The Anubias should do very well with this light. And also, if I forget to turn on the light every now and again, and there's a total of, I think, 5 Anubias that I used, including 2 very tiny Anubias Nana Petite. But it'll be fun to see how this grows in, especially the Gracilis. And yeah, it should be really cool. And they're having a whole lot of fun jumping around in here. So I'm anxious to see this, especially from the couch side. It'll be way more interesting. So hopefully this video was helpful. Let me know if you like builds like this more real time, or if you just like to see it done. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.